Today's episode of King Talk is brought to you by one of 100 exclusive clientele, custom apparel. So today we're going straight in, man. We're going to get straight to it. If you could have the man that is everything exactly how you want, what would that look like?
I mean, he is going to be flawed because that is human. You know what I'm saying? So even if I had to describe my perfect man, he would have some flaws. You know what I mean? That other people would see him as flaws, but it wouldn't be something that would particularly bother me. But if we had to build the quote-unquote perfect man, I mean, he would be supportive, he would be loving, he would be tough when he needs to be, he will be strong, he will be vulnerable though too, you know, he will be black, he gotta be black.
Okay.
Bronze skinned, smart, but also a little, you know, hood. You need that.
I think a lot of times y'all get mixed up on that.
On what?
Like when you want a man who's intelligent, but who also has that hood edge. One side or the other side takes over in a way. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, for example, if you like a hood cat, but you want him to be all those other things too, you know, there's a chance that he could be like too hood.
I said a little hood.
Okay.
I described my amount of hood. I said a little. You know what I'm saying? Meaning that I know he grew up, he understands what it means to be a black man in this world, but he has also elevated himself past the point of what the stereotype says that he is.
I love it.
You know what I
mean?
mean?
I can totally relate
to
that.
So that's what I mean by a little hood but smart, because it is a lot of smart, genius black men out here that are, you know what I'm saying, excelling in this world, but they came from the struggle.
For sure.
It's true. So
I can relate.
Yeah, exactly. So that would be my thing, you know. But you are a man that I would directly connect my son to be, you know what I'm saying, somebody that was a mentor or whatever, because you do have those qualities. So, and even in that, he will be flawed. You feel what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah,
so
definitely not perfect.
That would correct.
Yeah.
So it's not a such thing, I guess you could say.
No, not
you just
perfect, but just in your mind. You
gotta find who perfect for you. That's what's
in a vacuum. Like if you could just say exactly, what would you say is that perfect man? What does he look like?
So my perfect man, you know what? I just want someone that is very honest with themselves and knows what they want as a man. You know, someone who is okay to be vulnerable. And I made a mistake, and so how can we change that? How can we get better with that?
Intentional.
Exactly. Somebody who's just honest with themselves, and they know that they can make mistakes, but they know they can get better in themselves. Also, someone that is a man, like she said, is going to stand up for me, is going to go to bat for me, go to bat for his family, do whatever he needs to do as a man, and stand up on that, and always be that, regardless of what the situation is. Even if it, of course, it has to be, to me, something that's the right. It's the right. You feel right about it, so go hard on that and stand on that.
Right.
Also, someone who takes care of their business, that's going to go to work. And going to work doesn't mean you have a 9-to-5. Going to work can mean just doing work every day, doing what needs to be handled in the house, what needs to be handled on the cars, what needs to be handled, you know, just in general, whether it be your family, taking care of business with that too. So someone who knows that regardless of what it is, I'm going to take care of what I need to take care of, whether it's work, family, life, working out, eating good.
I love it. All of that.
So,
a leader.
Exactly. Somebody that I can look at and be like, okay, well,
I'm proud that that's my man.
Exactly. So let me tune into my femininity and let me do that feminine work around the house and take care of you and do what I need to do, because both of us are in our
just let me be in my natural. You know what I'm saying? Like, because we do have a little bit of as black women, I just feel like inherently, and I don't like to call it masculine, because I don't think that women can be masculine, because we're not. We're women. We're feminine. There is not a way. But I get what you're saying too.
It can be, though,
but I get what
sometimes.
you're saying by the energy of it all, meaning we are used to being in a certain position, so it's hard for some women to acquiesce that. And so we just want to be able to acquiesce that thing. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so the answers that y'all both gave, do y'all feel like that man exists out here? Do y'all see any of those men that you have access to? Like, are they out here?
I feel personally that they're out there, but a lot of them are taken. The ones that are going to do that type of stuff, are going to stand up and be the man that they need to be, they're taken. A lot of
They're
them
already
are.
doing it.
Exactly. So we already outnumber y'all like 4-1. It's probably 6-1 now. So
The ratio thing is definitely
it definitely
has to be
is.
considered.
So yeah, I feel like they're definitely out there.
Right on.
Yeah.
Right on.
I feel like he's out there. I just am limited right now in my ability to go to him. I'm limited in the men that I have exposure to, if that makes sense. Like, we in a small town. Everybody know everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not gonna lie. I probably, in my surrounding area, I probably know most of the men in my age bracket or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
So is that like an issue, or does it create a
A
barrier?
bit,
that, you know?
a bit of one, because.
Just got to move around though.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I need to. It's not that man's fault.
Like,
I
go
need
around to
to
other
go.
towns. Yeah.
Correct. I need to go out, away. I feel like that man is different from the man that I am exposed to here. There are more progressive men other places.
I can definitely
This is,
agree with
you know
that.
what I'm saying? So the mindset that is where I am is not of me, if that makes sense, or not of what I'm looking for in that man, or they haven't presented themselves anyway, so whatever, you know. But then I agree on the taking part too. You know, you already know my thing.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
What's your name?
we supposed to be sharing them, sis. What are you talking about?
I mean,
We supposed to be sharing the good ones. You heard the numbers.
Yeah, it's hard to debate
Some people
the
ain't
numbers.
about that. Like,
A lot of
The
people ain't.
male-female ratio thing is definitely inevitable. There's no way around it. A lot of people are in denial about that, but it's no way around it. We have more single, available, ready, beautiful black women than we do black men, and that just creates a certain dynamic that it seems like some people don't want to understand it as that, but that is definitely what it is.
They like to feel like they won. And that's just the thing amongst our people. We like to win. We watched somebody this week, for real, just for the sake of saying they won something or got something, cheat some other people they could have blessed.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
Right.
it's a mentality, unfortunately, of our culture and the people that we're around to, I don't know, win in a way that it don't matter who else it crippled, you won.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. It's unfortunate, man. Fort Worth is definitely. I hate to say this because, man, I love Fort Worth. I'm of Fort Worth. I'm from Fort Worth.
Yeah,
I'm
funky
about Fort
town,
Worth.
South Side.
But yeah, just being somewhat seasoned and traveled at this point, I can definitely say that Fort Worth is not the most progressive place. You know, you won't meet the most forward-thinking people here in Fort
Black
Worth.
people.
Yeah, black, exactly.
Indigenous. We're not black.
Yeah, so
Okay, I'm sorry.
I can say that, man. That's unfortunate for a lot of us, but it is what it is. So, yeah, maybe some people may need to look outside of Fort Worth. Separate from the perfect man, what would be how would you describe a perfect relationship for you, or is that kind of the same answer?
It's not the same answer, but I guess if we talking in context of relationship, just somebody who get it. Like a man who get it, who come in, who look around, who survey the scene, and he just get it. And once he get it, we gonna be good and peaceful, right? Because you understand, you know, you had a post about emotional intelligence or whatever.
Yeah.
And so emotional intelligence works both ways.
Definitely does.
It's not a one-way thing. You know what I'm saying? And so it does not mean being alike to one another. What it means is being able to comprehend the emotions of one another, right? So if you're having a highly charged day, I don't expect you to act like me and be highly charged. I expect you to come be my peace and be like, okay, babe, I see today was hard. Cool. I got the kids. You go chill. I'll make sure everybody eat. You know what I'm saying? What you want to eat. But vice versa, too. Understanding, taking that pressure off your man. It's already a hard world out there. He don't want to come into all that bullshit and arguing and fussing. Emotional intelligence means even if it's a problem, we know how to correctly address one another. We know when to correctly address one another. To me, that's what a perfect relationship would be. It's something healthy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
we done all seen unhealthy. We know what it look like. And it don't mean y'all won't disagree or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Some of that banter is healthy. It make you like, ooh,
keep it sharp.
Right.
Keep it sharp.
But, you know what I'm saying? You don't want to be subjected to childishness.
I totally get
You know what I'm saying? Because we already have that dynamic working in the family already. We got kids. So we don't need no childish adults. So to me, that's what a perfect relationship balances each other out.
100%. What you got?
So to me, a perfect relationship is just understanding or overstanding. Let me correct myself. Overstanding each other. Like if there's something that I'm going through and you know that you can see it, you can feel it, then like she said, just be my peace, calm me down to where it's like, okay, what's going on? Well, what happened? So I can talk, because I'm the person, I like to talk a lot. Anything that I go through, I need to get it out. So I like to get it out and then just listen to me. Like, it's okay, we don't always have to have a solution to it, but sometimes I just need someone to listen to me and then the solution will come back to me. So I just feel like a perfect relationship is just someone who we overstand each other, we get each other, we're flowing with each other. It's not about no negative energy, it's just about positivity, helping me to become that better person that I feel like I can become, and I'm gonna make you become that better person that I feel like you can become. So I feel like it's just about both of us reaching our goals and our dreams in life and loving on each other, being peaceful and happy.
I love it. Okay.
Go ahead. I was just saying, and a part of that a part of that too is coming whole. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
Coming whole into a relationship. Not becoming a hole, but coming, like when you come, I know how to asshole. No, yeah. You know, but coming into the relationship as a whole person, understanding, not saying that you don't have things that you can work on, because we jump into stuff not having completely taken care of us. You know what I'm saying?
Agree.
And when we don't take care of us, we come in half-stepping. You know what I'm saying? And that person can't be your peace if you ain't even figured out what peace look like.
I totally agree. I mean,
because you know, peace don't always look exactly. You know what I'm saying? Like what you think. I was telling somebody, sometimes you get triggered in a new situation that you didn't even know was a problem, right? Because you ain't been having to deal with that.
Right.
So you get in a new situation and something small trigger you, and you like, oh, what the fuck? You know, but being able to recognize that already and being able to self-check, that's when you know, okay, I'm ready, I'm here, I'm ready to be present.
Yeah. So basically what you're referring to is just people coming into relationships, coming into situations healed, already healed, not still suffering from past traumas. Not saying that certain things won't linger on. You know, we all have our stuff we've been through, but to go into a new relationship and not have it together, at least to a point where you can move forward in a healthy, productive way in your new relationship, you know, that's unfair to that other person. So I do think a lot of people are going around getting into new situations and they still haven't dealt with all their junk from the old situation. I guess the next thing I wanted to go into was, so we talk about emotional intelligence. We talked about that post on Facebook. I kind of got attacked a little bit, you know, a little bit. You know, with all the emotional intelligence and emotional availability and, you know, all these different things, men tapping into their feminine and all of this stuff. I guess one of the things that I always kind of have a curiosity about, is there still a place for masculinity, for real? Is there still a place for masculinity in today's society, in these relationships?
Absolutely.
Not toxic masculinity.
No. That's not masculinity. That's not toxic masculinity. It's not masculinity. It's actually real feminine. I
said that because I feel like a lot of times now masculinity gets labeled as toxic masculinity. You know
I think people learned a new word and maybe overuse it.
Maybe so.
But maybe it's because it's a man doing it. So then they say it's masculine toxicity. But like she said, it's really feminine. You're more in tune with your feminine energy.
With your emotions.
Right.
Which some people don't know the difference,
So,
I guess.
I don't expect you to do anything feminine. I don't want you to tap into no feminine energy. What I want you to do is understand the feminine, because the truth of the matter is that the feminine complements the masculine.
It should.
So if you don't understand the feminine, then that will lead to a problem. But I don't want no man that is crying because I'm crying about something dumb and I'm overwhelmed. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want him to cry with me. I want him to let me cry, like you said, let me vent. And as I'm coming to that solution, when you see I need you to hold me. But when you see I need you to be like, hey, all right, you already know how to do this. Toughen up. This what we need to do.
Y'all are very complicated, though. Now, I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying at all. But, like, if a man for real want to be, like, in tune with a woman for real and moving with her, it's not impossible and it's not a bad thing, but it is very difficult depending on that woman. You know what I'm saying? Because some women are just difficult in that way. You know what I'm saying?
So they're
like
more
kind of
in tune with
emotional
their
all over the
masculine.
place.
So once again, they're more in tune with their masculine energy. Because
talking
something's
holy
not,
hue.
because at the end of the day, something's not adding up, right? To why they're feeling or reacting in an immature type of way. So as women, so that's the thing too. I think people don't know the difference between feminine and masculine when it comes to a woman and a man, right? So when a woman starts acting, like you said, difficult in that type of perspective, she's going more in tune with her masculine energy. She's not looking deep within herself to really heal herself onto why she's acting so difficult. Because sometimes people don't want to like tune into why am I acting like this, or why do I feel like this? They just want to
I think it's toxic femininity too. If we gonna call toxic masculinity, I'm gonna say we got toxic femininity or whatever. I don't know if I made that term up, but fine.
I use it, toxic
Yeah, and the reason why I say that is because it's not about going into your masculine energy. There are some feminine energies that are toxic, that are not
100%.
good, they have been taught a certain way, and so they have carried it down instead of saying, no, that ain't right. That ain't right. My mom was always dogging my daddy and talking crazy to him and doing all that. Because there are women that came from that. You know, there are old school men that, for real, kind of got verbally abused and stuff, but they were taught to stay with their family, so they stayed. Like, there are women that learn that. There are women that learn that the only thing a man is supposed to do is take care of you, pay all the bills. He supposed to be tough. He ain't supposed to be weak. He can't cry. And we know now, in this generation, that don't serve our men.
I'm glad you said that, because that's one of the questions I wanted to ask is, do y'all think that the way that we were doing it in the past versus now, building families and relationships in the past versus now, which one do y'all think was better? I'll say that in the past, obviously, the success rate of, families staying together, marriages staying together was obviously higher. I think we also seen just better products, as far as the kids that came out of it, and the mindset and the way we went about life that came from those older principles and morals and standards was better compared to now. What would y'all say?
I would say it's way better back then. I would say back then, of course, they didn't know the answer, right? No one knows the answer at the end of the day to anything, relationships, building a family, having a family, building generational wealth, because we don't know. No one knows. We're just going through life, right?
Right.
But I do know one thing for sure and one thing for certain. My parents raised me an animal. Like, all the people that I know, my friends that's the same age as me, not only do we look better than everybody walking, we are hustlers. Like, we go out there and get it. We had discipline. Our parents didn't play. They were respectful. Yes, ma'am. No, sir. Yeah. Like, don't do this. Don't act a certain way. If you do, you're going to get your ass whooped. Like, it was simple and it was life and it was respectful and it was, hey, you got to go out there and get it because we ain't got it. And it taught me how to be that way. It taught me how to respect people. It taught me how to talk. It taught me how to go get it. It taught me how to clean my house and be clean every day. Look clean, act clean, be clean. You'll do clean. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, these these little kids these days growing up are disrespectful. They have no manners. They're spoiled. They act like they deserve everything. They act like they're entitled to stuff. They don't have any common sense. It's actually sad.
Okay. So before you
real.
take off, now I know that you don't have kids, you do, but how much of this should we take accountability for? Because these are now our kids. Now, I would say that, and this is not me trying to not take accountability, this is just me being honest. I would say that, you know, me and my kids' moms have done a decent job of, you know, trying to raise kids, you know, trying to prepare them for life, you know, try to incorporate some of the things that we learned while we were growing up. So when I see kind of certain weaknesses or certain things where they're not getting it, I don't really feel like it's us in every way. I do think it's our generation of parenting in some ways, but I also think that we're just facing a lot of things that our parents didn't have to face. You know, when you're talking about technology, you're talking about social media, you're talking about all these different agendas that are being pushed on these kids. It's just a different time, you know what I mean? So I do think some of the accountability should fall on us parents, our generation, but then it's also a very, very different world.
Okay. So back then, it was cool families, right? It was good, like they did. It was just certain stuff you did. Again, we talked about this a little earlier. It was a pride you had in being black and who you are, and you didn't have no choice. Like, you had to get out there and work that land, or your family wasn't finna eat. You had to get out there and figure it out. You know, they had multiple children, all of that kind of stuff. But we also have to admit that a lot of abuse and misuse and stuff like that was going on back then as well. There were a lot of pawpaws that had multiple families.
Pawpaw.
There, it was. You know, there were a lot of, as you said, we were going into an era of drug use, so there was a lot of absenteeism and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
There were things back then that did keep us in line, but the biggest thing of that was respect for me. Like, I wasn't a kid that got a lot of whoopings. That was my mom's MO. She didn't do that. But
not really.
But I had a very healthy fear and respect for my mom. You would have thought she was gonna beat my ass every time something happened. She wasn't even like that. But my mom had her own control mechanism, which was like religion, you know what I'm saying? And you know what I mean? Those kind of things were instilled deeply into us. However, now we are at a time where even some of us are figuring that out and breaking away from it because we have a different reality of what we want to teach and show our kids. Yes, the kids now are a whole lot of stuff, right? Entitled, selfish, you know, rude. They don't have the same respect. I see it all the time. I'm at games and
all the time.
They cussing. But I will say this. It does go back to us because I am the parent that will turn around and say, hey, y'all see me sitting right here?
Yeah.
Just in case your mama didn't tell you.
But how do you
people
feel?
be like, man,
Well, it can be
smoke.
luck if you bug because I'm grown.
So like, for
So
example,
it's a respect thing, right?
I totally get it. But so like, example, for me as a man, you know, I don't have a lot of fear that a young dude gonna beat the brakes off of me or nothing like that. But I guess it could happen. But a lot of people, they don't want, like, if you at a game and there's a group of kids behind you cussing. You know, these days, they mess around and jump you, mess around and pop off shooting and everything else. See, when we were growing up, you really did have to respect adults. I'm not necessarily speaking for me personally.
When you stand up and turn around, first of all, you cool, you swaggy, it's not nothing they can really say about you, they can't cap on you. So when you stand up and turn around and say, young brothers, you know what I'm saying? It's ladies in here or whatever. Some of them just ain't never had that. I watch my homeboy that got a program. He don't give no kind of negative nothing. He literally steps in the room just reaffirming you. How many of y'all got this going on? Let me tell you, this is what you were built to do. This is what you was made.
That's what we need.
Everything is affirming. But when he speak, there is no room to give a backlash. And I think that a lot of I don't want to say it like this, but a lot of black men have fell off in the leadership role. You can never feel like it's not your responsibility because this is your community. They will directly influence and affect your family, your kids. I don't care what kind of a bubble we feel like we put ourselves in. When they walk out their door, They are exposed to all of that. So yes, I want to directly influence what my kids are exposed to, including their friends, including the people in their school, including the people that's around me. And if I'm afraid to do that, I'm okay with failing my community.
Well, like I said,
That's another thing.
When I said that, like, I wasn't really speaking for myself, but no, I definitely understand the parents who say, man, I'm not finna get shot today trying to tell somebody else's kids what to do, because that's literally where we at. That could happen. You know what I mean? And so I don't even disagree with what you're saying about the male leadership thing. I do think a lot more of us need to step up and take their role seriously. So I'm not even debating that.
And y'all was willing to get shot for a lot
these
less.
Kids don't think
a
rationally.
lot of y'all been willing to get shot for a lot less.
I'm saying when we were growing up, you might be a stone cold killer for real. If we was teenagers, and you might be a stone cold killer for real, and we just had enough respect for adults that we didn't say and do certain things.
But there was a sense of community that they had formed,
right,
because you was worried about Miss So-and-so going to tell your mama that you was at that game cussing.
And it may not even been fear. It's just being raised with respect and loving certain
what I
people
mean is like a healthy fear. You feel what I'm saying? Like we were raised in a healthy fear of like, hey, you don't want that to get back to your mama. Number one, your mama had already told you that's embarrassing me, that's making me look bad, all of that. So you cared about that.
So it goes back to the question, because you guys aren't answering the question.
It's a mix for me. You know, it's a mix for me of, I think we need some of the old school values still to be instilled, but that got to be passed on by us.
Right.
You know, you hear people now, I don't make my kids say sir and ma'am, and you know, why do they got to say that? You know, I don't tell other people how to raise their kids, but as long as they respectfully answer you, say yes, no. He said yes ma'am, no ma'am, yes sir, no sir, but it ain't because I beat him about saying it. It's just something he learned from being around me and his dad. You know what I'm saying? We learned how to talk like that. That's how we talked. But I do also understand that sometimes adults are wrong nowadays.
Yes.
And I teach my kids how to advocate for themselves. But even in advocacy, if you're wrong, you're wrong. I feel it's a mixture of, you know what I'm saying? Now, if you're wrong, you're wrong.
I mean, kids can definitely abuse that. And so I will say this: were you raised in the church?
Yes.
I know that I was raised in the church. I know that she was raised in the church. So you were also raised in the church. I noticed that a lot of us are kind of pulling away from that at this point. I have my reasons. You have your reasons. I imagine you have yours as well. I won't say that they're bad reasons. What I will also say, though, in reference to this conversation, is that I kind of think the church was a good foundation for a kid. Not saying that we should have all stuck with it the way that our parents or grandparents have, but as far as like taking your kids to church and the benefits to that foundation, the having the faith and the moral compass that's kind of put in place there, and just a lot of the parables in the Bible and different things and how it all referenced and how it all ties into life. I think that that's been really, really helpful for me on my journey, even though I'm not really still into that in the way that I was raised. So I do think that that's one place where we have to take accountability, you know what I'm saying, kind of falling back on the church thing. That has a little something to do with what we're seeing with these kids. Would y'all agree?
I would say that I saw all kind of morality levels in the church.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
For sure.
And I am, and I say this for my kids too, they did have the duality of being able to grow up. When they were younger, we was in there every day, every single day. They was on drill teams and the Bible wars and everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, we were in the church. But for my daughter, as she got older, the church was not a safe place.
Gotcha.
For her. You know what I'm saying? And once I realized that, for me, it was like, okay, I need to get her out of here. But you are right about the foundational part. I tell people all the time, even though I'm not what one would maybe call a practicing Christian, I do follow the example of Christ and what the true example of Christ was and how he really was described and depicted in the Bible. And he definitely wasn't in these four-wall place. He was definitely out amongst the real people and out spreading a true word and not this stuff that involves a lot of money and flashiness and all of that. It wasn't about that. He was a very demure, if you would, kind of character when you really read about Jesus. So I would say that I am a follower of Christ, and I don't deviate from that a lot. I'm just not a Bible thumper where I'm going, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know some stuff in there is not completely accurate, but
Right.
I love Proverbs, I love Psalms, like you said. I love the parables in the Bible because they do apply, and we can find many situations to apply them to. But I don't think the way that we were taught Christianity was healthy.
I agree with you.
And so that is why, for me, it is a struggle for me. It became an internal struggle for me to continue to practice it in the way that it was being taught.
Totally agree.
I mean, I feel like, yeah, at the end of the day, the foundation, like you said, that was good for us back then. It just taught us discipline once again.
Mm-hmm.
I think, too, what you guys are failing to realize, too, is that you guys are parents. So I think you guys are looking at yourselves and like, hey, this is how I raise my kids. So I feel like, I don't know, I'll go with both of them. But if you guys take yourselves out of the picture, right, and look at the average people that were back then, that are now, and then look at all the people now that are raised now, would you guys answer the question differently? Do you feel like the parenting was better back then, or is it how?
I do think that it was better then.
Okay.
Because just again, looking at the results, looking at the fruit that our parenting is bearing.
Definitely.
You know, again, and I don't expect everybody to agree because you could consider this kind of harsh criticism.
We
But
got a lot of peers in jail, though. Our peers that was raised when we was.
well,
It doesn't matter though. We got a lot of peers
What I'm saying
that
is
are
the jail
the same age
population
now
is
that's in
made up
jail.
of every level. Is what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that the kids did not fare better because they got their ass whooped back then. Because a lot of people got their ass whooped, end up in the criminal justice system because
it's
they
just a
made different
time,
choices.
though,
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Like, you know.
I understand even taking my kids out, right? Because, you know, I got one kid I fucked up and then two kids that's turning out pretty good. You know what I'm saying? So even taking...
I love the honesty, man.
Oh, no, for real. That's how it is, you know? But even taking that out of the equation, I think that we need a healthy balance of both. We need that balance of the morals and the discipline and the understanding and the stop playing with me that it was back then, or don't play with me. Because, like, I ain't gonna lie, some people will probably, me and my son could for real have a TikTok on, like, he probably would be inappropriate according to some people how he answered me on some stuff, but not in a disrespectful way, but in a way of like, this is what he actually was thinking.
You allow him to
and
be
thought
him
instead-
in a way
I
that we
do.
were not allowed to be.
Correct. But I believe that in the long run, that will be beneficial to him in the path that he want to be on, right?
I don't
Being
disagree with
able
that.
to be an
don't feel that
individual
way.
and stand on your own principles. A lot of times back then, it was a follow the leader type of mentality, and a lot of people followed the leader and followed it to the wrong place. That's why individualism is important.
For sure.
It's important you can give your kids a healthy spiritual foundation without making them feel like everybody got to do the same thing all the time, all of this to get to heaven.
It's like
No,
you're
I
not
don't feel that
wrong.
way.
It's very delicate
Yeah, it's a
because
thin line.
every kid doesn't have the intellect to have that freedom. So for example,
Wow.
let's say you or your kid, or you allow your kid to cuss, right? You may have some kids that have enough sense to know, okay, mom's cool like that. We have those type of conversations, but that's only with me and mom. And then you have other kids that mom let me cuss a little bit. I'm gonna go over here and cuss with everybody else. You know what I mean? And so it's certain things where it made more sense to just go ahead and put like a blanket, a one way of handling it, and that's that.
Don't cuss.
You know what I'm saying? Don't cuss.
That's
you know
it.
What I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
And so stuff like that.
Stuff like that was cool, right?
And I do want my kids to have personality and be bold and say what needs to be said. I do want them to have that. So I try not to kill that spirit in them, but at the same time, you got to kind of put some barriers around them, and they do have to fear something too, especially
Because at the end
boys.
of the day, it's not okay. And so to me, It's not okay to go around cussing. Like me, for instance, like I'm going to cuss. Yes, I am. But guess what? If I'm in a place or a public place and there's a lot of people around, I'm not going to cuss. I'm not going to go hard and just say all types of stuff.
I ain't going to say a lot of words.
Because it's disrespectful at the end of the day.
To who?
So to everybody.
Some people feel that way, and some people,
Yeah, so I feel like my mom taught me there's no need to cuss, and I still feel the same way. She's right. At the end of the day, what is the point of cussing?
Cussing make me feel better.
Sometimes
I got to cuss to keep from. I'm telling you. Let me say
See, once again, though, that's when it comes to our feminine, our masculine energy. Though, as the end of the day, to me too, as a female, I'm not going to go hard. I'm not going to do all that.
The only time I cuss like that.
Hold on, let me finish. And then two, I'm not even going to get loud. My mom taught me that too. There is no point of getting loud and being loud and all obnoxious in front of people and that's doing too much. Like, I'm too cool for that. So I feel like at the end of the day, it teaches kids there's a time and a place. That's what it teaches them. So I feel like when they're young and you teach them, hey, it's okay, but it's not okay, because it's not a good look. It doesn't look, my mom always says, it doesn't look good, Tia. And I understand that, or I understand that now. Like, it's not a good look.
I mean, and it's just always carrying yourself with a certain level of dignity. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
Pride in oneself.
Exactly. So,
and I'm not I'm not saying they should be able to cuss. No, you know what I'm saying? Do I know they cuss? Yes.
Yeah.
I hear them sometimes. They slip, and I be like, hey, chill out. But again, as a parent, it's certain fights I'm gonna have, and certain ones I'm not, right? So going back to the things that we said, just don't do that, blanket statement, don't cuss, right? But then we were also told stuff like, don't have sex, that's it. Wasn't no education given, wasn't no facts given, wasn't no nothing healthy told to us about it, but don't do it.
Yeah.
But we did. And then, you know what I'm saying, without the education. So a lot of us ended up in certain situations from not being educated about the don't.
Yeah.
Because we realized real quickly that the thing we was being told was gonna happen to us wasn't gonna happen.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't die or nothing like that. I didn't have a baby right away. Nothing. You know what I mean? So, but if I had been for real educated about it, like, this is why you don't need to do that.
Yeah.
This is why this is sacred. This is why this is something that you need to be conscious about. You will have these kind of ties to this person, and this can happen. If the reality had been taught, I would have been like,
so then that brings in the question, the effectiveness of don't do it because I said it, period, versus don't do it and here's the reasons why. And I do think, I think it varies from topic to topic, because there are some things that it just is what it is. I say don't do it, that's that. And then there are some things where it probably would work out better if it came with an explanation.
I heard your perspective.
Our parents didn't want to really hear any, they didn't want to offer any explanation on things a lot of times. Like I said, I think it's different. It's a lot of different ways you can look at that depending on the topic. So, and when we have these conversations, I also want to say, for me, and I can't speak for anybody else, but for me, I'm never knocking my parents. I don't never want my parents to feel like they didn't do a great job, because I think they did.
Did the best they knew how,
Exactly, man. And I greatly appreciate them. So I don't never want to come off like, we're trying to judge their parenting.
They did a wonderful job.
They did what they knew to do.
Yeah.
And it got us through. It got us all to this point. So I appreciate them, man. And they still parenting right now, man. I still be on the phone with my mama whining right today.
Yeah.
Me and my dad have long talks. He be calling me at 5, 6 in the morning. You know what I mean? But
you appreciate that.
Yeah, I do, man. A lot of times very productive conversations and stuff like that. So, did y'all have anything else on there before I'm gonna kind of switch the
pace
right
now? You can pivot. We good.
So, there's been a lot of conversation about, a lot of back and forth about the way men feel about some of the things that women do. Not only like the accountability thing, I ain't even gonna touch that today, but on the physical side, right? So you hear men say, we don't like it when you wear weave, or we don't like it when you wear lashes, or we don't like it when you do this or do that. I'm a person that feels like, if you need to add a weave in order to make yourself look good or feel good, or if you put on a little makeup just to kind of enhance what God has given you, or, you know, just different things, grooming yourself or whatever, I think that's cool. I don't have a problem with that at all. However, when you put on so much makeup that you look like a whole nother person, or when you wear a shaper or something that makes it look like you really standing on it for real, and then you got it, and then come to find out you don't got it. I know the women gonna be mad at me. You know what I'm
Don't
saying?
worry about it.
But
Speak your truth.
but you know, I feel like a lot of men at this point are, in some instances, like literally feeling bamboozled. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Catfish,
just imagine like going to the club, right? And you meet a chick, and she look, you know what I'm saying, she got that going on, and she, you know what I'm saying, she look good, you know, face, long hair, you know, you think you got you one. And then y'all end up really actually dating or something like that, and come to find out this was all makeup. She looks like a whole nother person. Come to find out this ain't her hair, and she don't have no hair. Come to find out, you know, her shape, you know, it ain't exactly what it was. You know what I'm saying? And all lashes and all of these things. And a lot of women get offended when we acknowledge, when we say anything about these things. But for me personally, if I go out and I see something that I like and I choose a woman or whatever the case may be, I want her to look like what she look like. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of, like I said, it's kind of misleading for me to think that you're one thing and then come to find out you're something else. Just imagine, and I'll drop it on this. Just imagine us walking around with a cucumber or something in there. We know y'all watching packages at this point. So just imagine a guy putting a cucumber in there, walking around with a cucumber.
Just because you got a cucumber doesn't mean you know how to work it.
I'm saying I know that women are watching packages these days. So if is that not misleading?
Honestly, we just like a nice print, not all that. We don't need a cucumber.
I'm just making it. I'm making an example. I'm making a point. Would you feel misled if you were a woman that liked that, and then come to find out it was a cucumber all along? Would you feel misled? Would you feel bamboozled?
I mean, I feel you on the bamboozleness, because it is a lot of bamboozleness going on.
Hell, I don't be knowing some of them just from their Facebook. They be like, "Hey, chef," I'll be like, "Hey, girl," and I'm like, "They gotta know me from Facebook, but I do not know who that is." And then I'll look, and I'll be like, "Oh, I'll be there."
Right.
Yeah. So I get it.
And I'm not saying it to be mean or nothing like that. It's just, like I said, it's kind of misleading. And when a man says something about it, he gonna get it. I'm probably gonna get attacked today for saying what I said. But like I said, if I was single and I was just out here mingling like that, I would want to know that who I met is who that
really
is.
Who you are, yeah. I definitely understand. Like me, I'm a makeup artist, so I'm sensitive about my shit. No, I'm just playing.
No,
but what I'm saying, all in all, I do wear makeup. I do wear lashes. But guess what? I do it very simple and very thin. Like, I'm still going to be me when I take this off.
You still look like you.
You got makeup on today?
Yeah, I do. But it's very natural, and that's how I like to look. So, in token, I just feel like I do understand men when you guys say that. Because I would be like, what's going on? Because I've been bamboozled and catfish with men. Yeah. Like, they take off their hat, their receding hairline, they don't have a forehead, they have like a 15 head. Sometimes they smile, they ain't got no teeth. So I definitely get it. And guess what? I'm like, whoa, you know what I'm saying? And I turn the other way. So I definitely understand it and overstand it, because I see a lot of women, like he said, they take off their little shapeshifters or whatever the case may be, and it's an animal.
Y'all ever seen that movie, I'm Gonna Get You Sucker?
Yes. Yeah, she was walking out with the little hair.
You probably got to be our age to have seen it. Of course. Yeah, man. The man got the woman to the hotel room or whatever, and nothing was hers, man. It was a wig. She was totally bald-headed. She had a leg, took one leg off. The booty was fake. Everything was fake. This movie was from the 80s.
But it was a foretelling, right?
Yeah, that was in the 80s.
And when you think about I'm Gonna Get You Sucker, it was like in Hollywood setting, right? It was like in that era or whatever, or wherever it was somewhere where it would be superficial stuff, right? You know what I'm saying? But it was almost like a foretelling of what, you know what I'm saying?
It's
What
gonna
was
to come. So men, guess what?
Hey.
What you guys should do? Figure out that woman. Get to know that woman.
Well, stop. Well, here's
Touch
the
up
thing.
on her a little bit.
Well, here's the
try to
thing.
like get to know her for like 3 to 6 months, and it's all gonna come out. That's the problem with you guys. Sometimes
I agree.
You guys are attracted by the
Yeah,
eye.
about
I can say men and women need to pump the brakes.
Yeah.
And spend more time making sure that they get to know somebody
Definitely,
before
'cause
they really
it'll come
move
out.
forward. Now, really, people are very, very sharp with deception. People are very cunning with deception. But time don't tell on them.
Exactly.
No, hold on. Okay, so let's give some truth to light though. That imagery that those women are trying to imitate or emulate has been supported by the male industry, right?
No, why do we keep
it's
saying
not.
that?
That's not true.
They've
That is not
been
true.
interviewing men and asking men like, "Hey, what do you like better,
I
natural
don't
or
disagree
not?"
with you that they like the natural.
Okay, so
Not
whose
true.
fault
but
is
it's
that?
not
That
what
you're
they love
going,
in the public.
but if that's
not
what you're
true.
going with and
I'm-
you're emulating yourself, that's
I'm not an
brainwashing.
emulator.
No,
You know what
I'm talking
saying?
about those other women. So there's no reason to
I
talk
don't
about
agree
it.
with. Not saying I don't agree. I agree with a woman doing whatever she feel like, make her feel happy. I will say that.
I'm with that.
I
give you
do.
that.
I agree with that. However, what we as a society have to stop doing as well is making that the focal point of what everything is about. If you don't look a certain way, they say you're broke. If you don't got this, they say you don't got no money. If you don't got a weave that costs $500, you got cheap hair. Like I'm
Are
telling
we
you,
saying it, or
Men are
I
definitely
won't
not
say
saying
that men are saying it. I'm
Those
saying that
people
the
are saying it.
society that is our culture.
It's the 1% that's putting it in. It's
not the
predictive
1%,
programming.
it's
yes,
our
it is because they
culture.
own everything.
But
No,
what
it's
I'm-
not. It's not our culture.
Look,
you need to stop saying that.
But it is.
Either
It's
woman,
not, though.
whether it's one of y'all or any other woman out here, if you are a beautiful woman, I promise you, you can have on a little makeup, you can have on no makeup. If you go to the gas station right now and try to pump your gas, if there's any brothers around, they gonna pull up trying to holler. You ain't got it together. You ain't got all nothing that going on. They still see what they like. You know what I mean?
I'm
It
not
doesn't
disagreeing
take
with y'all.
all
I
of that.
just think. Let me finish my point.
Okay.
Okay. The imagery comes from somewhere. It's not, and the reason why we know that is because too many women do it. We don't.
It's program
Does it
television.
come from? Yeah, exactly. I was gonna
It's
say,
not
does it
our
come from
culture,
us?
though.
Yeah.
That's
Here's
what
the
we're
thing.
talking about.
It's I know it comes from the social media era.
Exactly.
Y'all didn't let
That's
me get to
predictive
that
programming.
to that part because that is when it started. Back in the day, you know, like you said, I would say pre-internet and women being able to just flash everything on the internet. You did not have to worry about that. It didn't matter. You could have some pajamas on going to the store. They see a fat ass. They come to say what's up.
That's it.
You know what I'm
It's
saying?
still like that.
It's still
And,
like
and
that.
I agree that it's like that, but that's not what's perpetuated in the media.
Well,
But
we
he
shouldn't-
said
we
we're
shouldn't
talking
allow
about
that
men.
to
He
happen.
said what men like though. Men
Now,
don't like that.
Men love the natural. Well, what he was asking
we
about
wanna
was the
know that it's
bamboo.
real.
He was asking about the bamboozlement. Like,
Yeah.
what do we feel about the fact that women actually do that?
I have to. We gotta wrap it up here in a second. So I gotta say this: the things that women say that men are attracted to are not the things that we're attracted to. Now,
Agreed.
the things that y'all are doing to compete with one another, the
Agreed.
things that y'all are doing to make yourselves feel good, that's one thing. And hey, I can't say nothing
Exactly.
about that.
Yeah.
But just for the record, the things that y'all think we worried about, we are not worried
At
about.
But it's not about men. It has become a competition amongst women.
Yeah, yeah.
that's what
and,
he just
and,
said.
and I ain't
But
in
that's
that.
what I
ain't
was
in that
getting
at all.
to. Like, it's not a male thing. It is the image that is perpetuated by social media that is visited the most by other women. And you want
So
somebody
at
to
that
say,
point,
yes, bitch, and all of that.
So at that point, I have to ask: is it more important for you to compete with whoever you're competing with, or is it more important for you to catch the attention of the man of your dreams, or whatever the case may be?
I don't compete with nobody, but that's why I go to the gym, because the man of my dreams is healthy and fit and care about his body and care about my body and care about his health. Not excessively, but it's a part of our life and our lifestyle.
Gotcha. Okay, so last thing. If you meet a guy, right, and he checks all of your boxes, he checks every single box, but his sex game ain't hidden, what do you do with that?
I'll have a conversation with him first and foremost. That's my dude. So anything that we go through, we can have a conversation and we can get through. So in saying that, I would just let him know, like, hey, I just feel like maybe what is the problem? First,
I mean, it could be
talk about
micro. It could be he don't know what to do. Either way, I guess. But he's checking all the other boxes
Yeah.
except for that one.
We would just have
What do you do?
I would just have a conversation
if we
about
can
it.
have the conversation, we'll be good. If we can't have the conversation, you're gonna be ego bruised or something like that. I ain't gonna lie, it's a deal breaker. It's because that's important.
Yeah.
That's a very, whether people want to admit it or not, that's a very important aspect of a relationship.
Gotcha.
I would put it in the top 3 because I need to even feel that energy when I'm around you. So if you can't perform,
It's a problem.
a
It's a problem.
major one.
And I think it varies, from person to person. Some people have sex, number 1. Some people have sex, number 10. But either way, it definitely comes into play at some point. One more thing. He checks all the boxes.
I didn't finish my point.
I'm sorry.
It's all
I'm
right.
sorry.
So I was gonna say too, I would have a conversation with him, and then after we're having a conversation, whatever the solution we came up with, I would just go from there. Because at the end of the day, like you said, he's checking every box. So who cares if one of the boxes he's not checking out? I would still let him know, because at the end of the day, I don't want to act fake with it, right?
Yeah.
I would let him know that, like, hey, this is what's going on, and I feel like this. So how can we improve it? So whatever he feels like he needs to do, or whatever we feel like we need to do to improve the situation, at least he's working on it, and we can get through it.
I mean, I can't say my experience has been, people are who they are. Either you got it or you don't. You know what I mean? It ain't no talking nobody through it. You know what I mean? But that's just my experience.
Got you.
I know we right a couple minutes over, but one last thing, and we'll shut it down on this one. Checks all the boxes, but is broke. What do you do with that?
He can't check out the boxes if he
Checks
broke.
all the other boxes.
He can't. He can't, because some of them boxes is like hard working, able to, you know what I'm
You
saying?
can be hard working and
no, you
when I
can't.
say broke, maybe not like flat broke.
You mean like
but-
not financially sound?
Yeah, I mean, there's guys that work 9 to 5, working the warehouse, this and that. They making money. They getting up and going to work every day. It's just not enough.
We don't have to me, that's something that's workable, aroundable, right? So you saying he checking the sex box too? I'm
Yeah,
saying
a lot of
you,
broke people having sex around here.
check. A bunch. Okay, anyway, the broke was being out saying. So but I would say that is definitely something we would have to quickly change in terms of like. Yeah, I need you to figure that. No, I need you to figure that. Hey, get a second hustle. Help me hustle my business harder so that we are able to produce more income. Like, you better become my promoter for a taste of the kingdom. Because something has got to flow. We got kids. It's stuff going on. Unfortunately, in this society, being broke is not really an option unless you want to be at the end of the line in every way.
Yeah.
And that is just, one of those things. And I do have certain beliefs about brokenness, which is laziness in a certain degree, or comfortableness, or getting yourself in situations that, listen, most of them warehouse workers not being funny if they don't have enough money, it's because they have kids and child support and stuff like that. So the money is going elsewhere. You know what I mean? But you have to be able to figure out how to sustain your lifestyle and what you want to do. And there's too much stuff out here you can do for extra cash. You know what I'm saying? You can DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub, Lyft, Uber. Like, you can figure out stuff to get extra cash if that's an issue. But just laying down on it and being like,
nah, that's different. That's something different.
But brokenness got to do with that. If you say, I just got this 9 to 5, all I'm bringing home is $300 a week after child support, groceries, whatever. If you want a woman for real and a family and what come with that, even just a woman, I wouldn't care if they didn't have no kids, they was a single woman. She do not want to hear you always talking about you can't do something because we ain't got no money.
I've been in a situation where I was busting my behind for real, and it just wasn't coming full circle. What do?
It's a deal
Check all the
breaker.
boxes.
It's a deal breaker for me.
Okay.
And it's a deal breaker because like I said, I want someone to make me better. I want someone that is doing better than me. So if I come to you and you're already doing that, I don't have time to waste. I'm 43 years old. So I don't have time to sit here and wait on you to become or get money or whatever you got going on, right? Because at the end of the day, it's about traumatic experiences. Sometimes it's about what you're going through, so you got to get over that, right?
Right.
So me personally, I don't have time for it.
Got you.
Yeah, I'm a cougar, so sometimes I let my cubs have a little grace.
Gotcha,
They
gotcha.
learn it.
Well, look, man, there you have it. You heard it straight from them. That's how they feel about that. This has been King Talk, man. We appreciate you joining us. We out.
Holler.